I have mentioned the buildings project before in other tutorials and will probably do it again because it's very close to my heart. It is a huge project to put all the buildings in Ireland on the map, and it took us 3 months to do Kilkenny alone, and that was when we were all fresh and energetic, and now it's been slowing down. But what motivates me, amongst other things, is that I can say, I go to a place and I can say, oh, I mapped that. Or someone talks about a place and I can say, oh, I mapped that. It's a bit of pride there. And also because it's such a huge project and a community project, I think it's a bit like, and I might reach for the stars here, but it's a bit like Stonehenge. It's a huge community project that takes years and years to complete. And I think with projects like Stonehenge and Newgrange, I think it's more about the process of building it rather than actually having it and the function it has afterwards, whatever it was. But all the work that goes into it, the organization and projects like that, and I think the buildings project in Ireland is similar, it's community building, and it makes a huge impact onto the community afterwards. And that's also why I don't mind not getting paid for it, because I know I'm making a difference and it might not be appreciated by everyone. But a lot of websites and a lot of apps use OpenStreetMap, and it might save lives at some point. It might not, it might just help you find your way, but at least it made a difference, and I'm not just sitting at home taking drugs or drinking or something like that. Okay, back to the tutorial. So I thought I'm just gonna do a little excursion and show you what it's all about, so you know what I'm talking about. We started this in November 2019 in Kilkenny, actually. That was the first time for me that I met all the other mappers, not all of them, some of them. And that's also where I started using JOSM. Use the ID editor for this one and then finish the tile in JOSM because it's faster. You find the task manager on tasks.openstreetmap.org, and it has this lovely welcome screen, and I keep asking people which village this is, and they probably told me before and I keep forgetting. And you see down here it says 2 mappers online, and there you see we have 13,211 tasks mapped, and oh wow, isn't that a nice number, 222 total mappers that have worked on it. And if I click on start mapping, you see that we have several tasks open at the moment. URI surrounds. So you see we are not just doing the Republic of Ireland, we do the whole island of Ireland. And the towns of Laois, and that was one of our projects in last November for lockdown 2. And I will go to Wexford. Oh, and I'm logged in with my normal OpenStreetMap account. So I still have that tile marked that I've chosen before. Up here you see instructions. Is usually the same for every task, and then you can map or validate and put questions and comments in, or read questions and comments. I'm going to map this tile. I'm going to zoom in. So there's a legend down here which explains all the different colors. Blue means that it's locked by me. So this is the one I'm gonna work on now. So you see we're a bit west of Enniscorthy, between Rathnure and Enniscorthy. So I'm clicking on the tile, and then I only have the choice to map this one. I can't validate because it needs to be mapped first. Click on Start Editor and it opens a new window. With the familiar ID editor that we've talked about in a previous video. And you see we get the welcome screen again, and I'll just click on edit now. And you see there's this fuchsia, I think it's called, frame around the tile that I'm supposed to be working on. So I'm just gonna zoom in on the first buildings I see, and to do it a bit more systematic, I'm going to start up in that corner, zoom in, and it has the Bing imagery again, which I don't like, so I'm going to change it to A3. And zoom in a little bit more. And start with this house here. I use the area tool and I follow the outline of the roof. There seems to be a little edge here, and I could actually do that little dormer window. And when I'm finished doing the outline, I press my escape key. And the next thing I do is I define it as a house. I could just use building, but why, it's just the choice between building and house, so you know, there's not more effort at all. And I don't know if you can see that it's not quite orthogonalized, but there's an easy way to achieve that, because I'm not perfect in drawing perfect squares. There's the Q key on your keyboard, and you just hit that, and that straightens it out. And that's the first house added. I could do the driveway, I'm not going to do that now. Just gonna look if there's a shed. I can't really see if there is a shed, so I'm not going to do that. And the next house seems to be a very similar shape. Could have just copied and pasted it. Escape, define it as a house, and then hit the Q key. What is very important to bear in mind is that the roof does not often or not always match the floor plan of the house, because the plane might have flown in such an angle, or the satellite rather, that you can see a bit of the wall. It's not like that in this case, so I can't show you. What I'm trying to explain is projection. So if you see a house from the top like this, exactly from above, you won't see any of the walls. But the satellite, and because of the curvature of the earth and all that, you might see it like this on your satellite view, so you can see the wall. So you draw your line around your area around here, and I can't do it in this program now. But then you move the whole area. You move your area so it matches these lines down here, the foundation of the house. I hope that makes it a bit clearer. You do that by using the M key on your keyboard, highlight the house or the building, hit the M key on your keyboard, and move the whole thing around, roughly like that. And then we have a shed here. And it's important that you define the type of shape and then hit the Q key. Because if I hit the Q key now, before I have defined it as a building, it will think that I'm looking for anything starting with the Q, which I'm not. So I delete the Q and go to building features, click on building, because this one is not a house, and I can leave it as building, yes, but I will define it as a shed, and hit the Q key again, and then just leave it like that. Let's see if there's anything round. Probably not, because that's another trick I wanted to show you. Yeah, there we go, there's a horse walker. So again, this is one of those things that people have horses walk around in. It's not technically a circle, it's octagonal. I usually try to hit the corners, which doesn't always quite work out. And hit the escape key again. And now I can't remember how to define a horse walker because I usually use my preset. Let me just check. So I typed in horse walker in the wiki and it shows me that I have to use animal, horse walker, and also either barrier fence if there's no roof on it, or if it has a roof on it, as building yes. I could also define it as building farm auxiliary, I think, because they're usually part of a farm, which is what I'm going to do because we don't like to use just building yes. So this is what I'm doing now. Building farm, and it auto completes. It gives me a choice between building farm, I don't know why farm would be building, or farm auxiliary, and that's farm building. And then now that I've defined it as something, I can hit the O key on my keyboard, and that makes it a lovely perfect circle. And then I can add the animal horse walker definition. Animal horse walker. I could also add sport equestrian just as a bonus, and then I go and save that. Added houses, this, and horse walker. And the source was Esri, and then I hit the upload button. And I can leave it at that. That's really all I wanted to show in the ID editor and to introduce the building project. And if you want to learn a bit more about the buildings project, we have a page on the wiki, wiki.openstreetmap.org/wiki/Ireland/Mapvember2020, and that was last November for the lockdown. You can see what date we did what, and how much was mapped and what the progress was, and there's some YouTube links as well. And there's also the hashtag that we use for the whole project, and the hashtag we used for November was Mapvember 2020. But the main page is the one tasks.openstreetmap.ie. And I hope you enjoyed that little bit, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.